All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited to have you on to review some of the information about registration for the EH department. My name is Emily Lakemaker, and I'm the Associate Director of Recruitment and Student Life here at the Rollins School of Public Health. And I'm joined here today with one of my colleagues, and she'll introduce herself in a moment. But first up, I want to give a few logistics up at the top. First and foremost, we are recording this, so if you want to go back and rewatch it, if you feel like you missed something, we're going to have this posted on our YouTube channel, and Ariadne, your advisor, will be sending out the link to everybody once it's up and live. So you'll be able to check that out. So the way that this is going to work is we're going to go through the PowerPoint presentation first and kind of cover all the pertinent information that we have, and then we're going to open it up to questions. So at any point in the presentation that you have questions, feel free to type them in. You can see my cursor up here at the top in the upper right-hand corner. You should see a section up there titled Questions. So feel free to type those in at any point throughout the presentation. And then once we're done with the PowerPoint presentation, we'll go through, read each of those aloud, and address as many as we can in the hour that we have allotted. So hopefully we can kind of get through all of those in a timely manner. So with that, I think I am going to go ahead and just turn it on over to Ariadne so we can get started with this and hopefully address any questions and concerns that you may have.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining and welcome to our webinar. And again, if I haven't met you or seen you lately, I'll say congratulations again. And now you are at that point where you're finally able to register for fall classes. So my name is Ariadne Switzenberg. I'm the Associate Director of Academic Programs for the Department of Environmental Health. And we'll walk through this, hopefully give you a little bit more information about our curriculum, and we have had some changes since we might have gone over this before if you've come to visit Emory and or to our open house or any other information. So we've made some curriculum edits, which is another reason why I really wanted to touch base with everybody. So we'll go ahead and get started. So we'll talk a little bit about just some semantics between our department versus the programs in our department. Talk about your advisors, go over important dates, the curriculum, the schedule for the courses, the actual registration component, and then, as Emily said, some question and answer. So just for clarification, when you are referring to our department and your program, once you're here, as well as any correspondence that you might have with Rollins or with the department, just to clarify that we are the Department of Environmental Health, and within that department, we administer 3 programs that you all would be part of. So either Environmental Health, MPH, Global Environmental Health, MPH, or the Environmental Health Epidemiology, MSPH. So those are the programs within the Department of Environmental Health. So sometimes we've heard people saying, oh, we're in the Department of Global Environmental Health. Well, that doesn't exist. So Global Environmental is a program as well as Environmental Epidemiology. And they're all under the umbrella of environmental health. And the global environmental and the epidemiology piece, they are connected to those other departments with partnerships and access to faculty and classes and networking with those other departments as well, but they're all housed under the environmental health department. So when you are here, starting obviously now, you have several advisors and mentors throughout your time here, and one of them is me, and every department has a point person or an ADAP that will be able to help answer questions specifically about the department that you're in. You can always start with me, but of course if you have questions for another department, you are more than welcome to reach out to other departments as well, and during your time here I'm sure you'll get to know some of the other advisors. You will have an environmental health faculty advisor assigned to you, and we will announce that advisor at our orientation department session. So we make every effort to connect you with somebody who has similar interests and or background and or something in common. We can't always guarantee that the match is going to be absolutely perfect, but this at least will be a point person that you will have a connection with from day one, starting the program. And then as you move through the program, possibly people can switch based on maybe who they might be ending up doing your thesis advisor with, but that usually wouldn't be until the start of year 2. So we don't prevent you from talking to, you can talk to whoever you want in the department, reach out to any faculty, but you will have one assigned to you at the beginning of the program. And then also we have second year students in the department who have volunteered to serve as student mentors for you all. And this is something that's an internal program that our students through our student leadership have found to be of value, and it's student run. That we have a second year student mentoring program, and what we'll do is send out an interest survey to all of our first years to respond back and give us generally where your interest areas are, and then from there we will match you with our second year student volunteers, and we will have a kickoff session for you to meet your mentor and kind of learn about that program and how that works at the very beginning of the school year. And then also Career Services has a couple different mentoring programs which you will also learn about when you start the program here. They have outside mentors, professionals working in the field, and you can apply to get a match of someone outside of Rollins as well. So just to let you know that there's a lot of support right off the bat. These are kind of more formal arrangements, and then of course throughout your time here you'll have plenty of other people that you'll be getting advice from. So I wanted to jump right in and talk about registration. I did find out some more and updated dates recently. So you'll be registering yourself through OPUS, and as of today your shopping cart is open. So you can start kind of after this conversation, or maybe you've already taken a look at it to prepare for this meeting. You can start putting items in your shopping cart in OPUS, and then on June 21st, registration officially opens for you at 9 a.m. And then you can hit submit for the shopping cart and see what goes through and what you might get potentially some error messages, which I will help you with. So at least you can start after this meeting and have a little bit more of a direction of what you're going to be doing based on the guidance that is already provided to you and what we're going over today. And then you will have access to change your schedule all the way up until July 16th. And 5 p.m. is the time we had last year. That exact time might change, but as of now, that's I'm pretty sure that'll be consistent of what we did last year as well. So you can make any adjustments between June 21st and July 16th, and then registration will close, and you will not have access between July 17th and August 22nd. And then classes start back, and then there's drop, add, swap, August 23rd through the 30th. So if you need assistance in OPUS and you discovered you did not register for a required class, or you really changed your mind about something, depending on what it is, generally I will tell you that you have to wait until drop, add to get back in and change it yourself. Every once in a while, if something came up and I can help you during those times, I will. But otherwise, it's okay to wait until drop add if you need to wait until then to make adjustments. The calendar links and all the other important dates are available to you through the new student portal. There's the registration section. I've added links under the enrollment tips under each of your programs. Also, course schedules are available in OPUS as well as in the RSPH Enrollment Services webpage. If you go to that webpage under Student Services, on the left-hand side there's a link that says Fall 2017, and every other semester in the future they'll be listed there, and that's kind of the at-a-glance view for all of the Rollins classes, which I think is much easier to check than OPUS. But OPUS will tell you whether or not a class is closed or open for enrollment as far as the number of seats. So you can I use those two tools together when I'm planning out the schedule, and so you know what's available. And all of the special rules and special notes and matching classes with lab times, that's going to be spelled out on the enrollment services page, versus OPUS might not have all those specific notes. So again, I usually compare both of them when I'm in the middle of working on registration. So now we'll go into some of the minor edits that have been made for your curriculum. And give you some specifics, and I will pull up some updated curriculum sheets. So each of the programs, environmental health, global environmental, and EH-EPI all have their own very specific curriculum sheets. So environmental health and environmental health epidemiology, the updated ones for 2017 are available on the website, and there are links to, or there should be working links from the portal that explains the registration to the updated sheets. The global environmental health curriculum is hot off the presses as far as the new approval for some changes that we've made this summer, and I will bring those up specifically here in a minute, but that has, as of this morning, was not quite updated, and it still showed the 2016 version. So after this meeting, I am going to email all the global environmental health students directly this updated curriculum sheet, and then hopefully it'll get published up on our website in the near future, maybe today or on Monday. So what courses should you take? As you probably have already seen some of the guidance, but you're going to follow each of these program curriculum sheets. And then on the third page, there is a suggested timeline, which we will follow. This is why it was created, so that everything fits into your schedule. And then, as I mentioned, all the curriculum will be on the each department websites. And then we also have a portal called Canvas that is what used to be, we were using Blackboard. So if you're familiar with that, we have a new system that we're going to set that up soon, and you'll have access that way by the end of the summer. So each of the programs is going to have a section of core courses and required courses. So the core courses are the cores that are required across the school, and it's the foundation class in all the other disciplines. So everybody will be taking Biostatistics 500, Epidemiology, Behavioral Sciences and Health Education, Health Policy and Management, and Global Health 500 levels. The GEH students will be taking GH 501, which is the foundation class for the Global Health students, so not GH 500. And then there's the program required classes, and these are going to be different based on the program. But for the most part, each of the three programs in our department, one of our newest classes is EH 590R, which is Introduction to Environmental Health, and that is going to be your foundation class, and that will be this first fall. And in the future, that's going to be renamed to EH 501. So this is the first time we're teaching this class, and it's a seminar type class, and it's going to be 1 credit pass-fail, and so it'll give you a really nice introduction and overview to our department and our faculty, and it's similar to what the other students have to take for EH 500, but it's going to be more in depth for you all for being part of the department. And then also this semester, Human Toxicology is EH 520, and then moving into some future classes, including spring, one of our new classes, for those of you who might have looked at the syllabus beforehand, we had environmental hazards, and that class has gone away, and instead we've updated it to a new class called EH 510 Foundations of Exposure Science, and that will be taken by all of you in the spring. And then we have an environmental occupational health policy class. Our GEH students are going to take a global policy class instead of that, and then EH 550, which is environmental occupational health practice. That's for our EH and EH-EPI students, and there's some other required classes as well. This is just an example of what most of you will be taking during your time. And then also everybody will be taking a thesis or a capstone, doing a thesis or a capstone project, and we'll talk much more about that as we move into next year, but you don't have to worry about that quite yet. And then also practicum, which is your work hours between 200 to 400 hours, and that will start after your first semester. Most people work on that in the summer between their first and second years. So all the course descriptions and sample syllabi are on our website. There are some classes, electives particularly, that may require instructor's permission. And if that's the case, then you can talk directly to the instructor and or ask me for guidance about how to do that. And then this first year, we have more required classes in your first year to prepare you for your practicum and thesis and capstone and give you really a really solid foundation. And then as you move through the program, it opens up more room for electives. So in year 2, there's not as many requirements, and we do give you some more wiggle room, but it depends on the semester. I would say the fall semesters in general have more requirements. The spring is a little bit lighter, and we do offer more electives in the spring because of that reason. So some of you have already contacted me about this. Once you look at the syllabi for some of the classes, especially some of the foundation classes, you might have taken a similar type of class when you were in maybe your undergraduate program, and or if you took any other classes for credit or maybe something before you came here, and you feel like you've already taken a similar class. Well, we do not want you to take a repeated class of something you've already taken. So we do have a way to try and waive out of a class. There is also a possibility to try and transfer in a class. And transferring in a class would be if you did not take it for credit toward another degree. So again, maybe you did something just advanced standing for a graduate level class or something like that. But in most cases that people are waiving out of a class that they might have already taken. So we need a copy of your syllabus from the class that you took, and then also you'll let me know when you took the class and then what grade you got in the class, and ideally a copy of your unofficial transcript that I don't have to go back to your application to find it. So if it's right there together, that'd be great. And then we review it to make sure it matches the current class. And if so, both our department and the department that the class might be hosted in will review it to make sure it was the same class. And then if you're trying to waive out a Global Health 500, they do require additional information, and there is a matching process per each of their objectives. So you actually have to map their objectives to what you've done in the past or even the class that you've taken. And if that's the case and you need that form, I can certainly send it to you. But you can send that documentation to me. The summer is a great time to have those evaluated so that you know coming in whether or not you'll have to take a required class or not that you're trying to waive out of. But essentially you could submit those anytime before the semester comes up that you might have to take that class. All right, so as I mentioned before, for this fall, most of you are going to be taking EH 590R, Intro to Environmental Health, Biostatistics, class and lab. When you log into OPUS to look at your schedule, you should already see yourself registered for that class. So everybody in our department is going to be in the same class and lab slot, and they are matching sections based on the schedule for the rest of our curriculum for the fall, and every single incoming student at Rollins will be taking that class, so it's very carefully orchestrated based on your schedule, and we are not able to change the section or lab section that you're registered for. So unfortunately, pretty much 0 requests will be considered unless you are a dual degree student or a part-time student. So I think most of our students on this call are probably full-time regular students. So BIOS 500, the class and time and lab is set. EPI 530, you do have choices. EH EPIs are already registered because there is one specific section for EPI students, and you may swap your lab times if you desire, but we did assign you to a lab section that will not conflict with other popular electives, and I recommend considering staying where you are if you're already pre-registered for it. And then all the EH and GEH students, you can choose which EPI section and lab section that you would like. Make sure you just have your matching class and lab sections, because there's certain classes and the lab sections go with those each class assignment. And then almost all of you will also be taking human toxicology this fall as 3 credits with Dr. Mike Cottle. And then also to consider this fall is maybe an elective if you have any choices, any time available. And for the core courses, our department is really leaning this year toward trying to get you to take your core courses maybe a little bit later, or the other 3 core courses, behavioral sciences, health policy management, and global health. Primarily because we want you to focus more on your interest areas, and the core courses are mostly going to be full anyways. So do not worry if they're full. We recommend just maybe pushing them off and starting looking at those maybe spring or even in year 2. But if you're extremely interested in one of those topics, then yes, go ahead and try and register for them. It's totally up to you. Global environmental health students will also take this fall GH 501. As I said, the foundation class is called Evidence-Based Global Health Policies, Programs, and Research. And that is, we did pre-register you into a section of this so that all the GEH students will be together with Dr. Juan Leon. And he is actually a jointly appointed faculty between global health and environmental health, and he will build in specific topics and examples and things like that for our global environmental health students who are going to be in that section. If you really want to be in a different section for a different reason, you can go ahead and swap, but just to know, we have kind of specially built this section, or Juan is going to build this around knowing that there's the GEH cohort in that section. And then EH EPI students are also going to take EPI 533, Programming and SAS. And also, for some of you, EH 580, Injury Prevention and Control, is also going to be required, and that's for EH EPI students who might be on a training grant, and we'll let you know about that, and or that could be an elective for anybody else who's interested in taking injury prevention class, and or this will also be offered next fall. So if you want to wait and take this in the second year, that is okay as well. So a note about electives. Electives are considered any non-required class, 500 level or higher, to count toward the MPH. You can view your prerequisites and permission rules in the catalog and or on the Enrollment Services web schedule. I would actually say look at both. And then also the EH website does have the syllabi and other more in-depth information. If instructor permission is required, then you can email them directly and then forward me that permission, and we'll talk a lot more about that as you move into more advanced electives throughout your program. For this first semester, it's usually not too many permission required classes that you'll be taking. And then, as I said, one more thing. For some people who want to have a little bit of wiggle room this fall, you can consider putting EH 520 toxicology into your second year fall. And this would be something to maybe ask me about before you just decide not to take it. But some students who, for example, might be interested more in the WASH certificate or any other specific certificate that you want to make sure you get in a foundation class this fall, then we have been able to bump toxicology to the next year if that's what you would like to do. So I can help you through that as well. But that's where some flexibility might be if you feel like you have a whole lot of required classes this fall, because you kind of do. All right, so just so you know, there are some popular fall electives that I'll point out to you just so you want to consider them, and I'll tell you what they are briefly. So EH 543 is sustainability. It is a 1 credit, also pass-fail class that is taught by Keena Howitt, who is the director of the Office of Sustainability at Emory. She's been teaching this class for us since she's been here, maybe 5 or 6 years or so, and people really like it. You get a lot out of it. Because it's 1 credit pass-fail, I definitely recommend you considering it if that's a topic that you would like to jump right in and learn about. As I mentioned, injury prevention is an elective. There is also an injury prevention certificate that is offered by the same group of people who teach this class. So if you're interested in injury, that's something that you can look at pursuing as far as an interest area. We have a global climate change class, health impacts and response, built environment and public health. This is a class that is it's a partnership with us and Georgia Tech, and that is half on Emory's campus and half the class is on Georgia Tech campus. They usually split the semester, so the first half might be at one school and the other half is at the other school. It does require some transportation logistics. There is a shuttle that goes back and forth to Georgia Tech, and it does require GIS background on some level. So if you do not have that and you're interested in built environment, we recommend you taking GIS this year, which is offered both fall and spring, and then that can be lining you up to take built environment next fall. So we do offer GIS as an elective. It's a half a semester skills-based class, and as I mentioned, you could also take that in the spring. And then for those who are interested in water and sanitation topics, we have a global health class that we recommend as well, GH 529, Water and Sanitation in Developing Countries. All right, so again, you can find all the course descriptions and sample syllabi on our web pages. I don't know if you guys have access to the R drive yet, but you will once you get here, and or I can always email you a copy of the syllabus, but the catalog has all the general course descriptions. And then of course, once you're here during drop ad, you can certainly talk to other fellow students, your student mentor, faculty advisors, me. Just feel free to reach out, and also I know the Facebook pages are sometimes a good place to ask about recommendations if you're interested in a certain topic, but we can definitely help guide you. All right, so I know that's a lot of information, and actually before we move on to registration basics, I did want to jump over to the Global Environmental Health Curriculum sheet really quick for those of you who might be GEH on the call, just because this is brand new and you haven't seen it yet. But one thing I wanted to point out to you that we did make the edits that I was mentioning is, so GH 501, that has not changed from last year, I don't think, but we did add in the EH 590R, the Introduction to Environmental Health, and then as I said, EH 510, Exposure Science. But the one thing that we did add for you all is this box right here, which is focusing on methods courses. So we selected 3 classes that you get to pick from. So we try to build in a lot of flexibility into all of our curriculum to know that not everybody has the same interest area or background, or people might have different needs or interests. So we have built in lots of options for you. So this is one of them where you get to choose between 3 of these classes. We have they're all global health classes, again, to kind of balance out your global health perspective. Survey research methods, qualitative research methods, and monitoring and evaluation of global health programs. So 2 of these are spring, and then the one, we call this for short M&E, monitoring and evaluation, and that would be fall of your second year. And these other 2 are ones that you can consider for spring of the first year, but second year you could take them too. It might be a little late by the time you get to spring of your final year. So usually we'd recommend first spring or second fall. And then specifically with Matt Freeman, who is a EH faculty, and he's also one of the co-directors of the GEH program. So again, he would be targeting and designing this class specifically for GEH students to engage in. And whatever class you choose, you can take additional classes out of this list, and then the additional ones would become electives. So those are the main changes that we've made to the GEH curriculum. And the other thing that we did is we removed the Food and Waterborne Microbiology class as a requirement, and that is a January class that happened before the spring semester, and that's now an elective for those who will be doing the WASH certificate or just interested in WASH. We're pretty sure you're still going to take that class, but we removed it as a requirement for people who may not be as interested in doing another WASH class, especially in January. And then also we added this EH 571, which is the Global Environmental Health Policy class. So you won't take the Environmental Health Policy class unless you want to, but the GEH Policy class will be the requirement for GEH. And then the EH EPI ones, as I mentioned, are also on the website. And let me know if you can't find them and or want me to directly send you copies of them. All right, so we're going to go back to the PowerPoint and talk a little bit about the registration basics. Okay, so here at Rollins, we have a flat rate tuition structure. So full-time is 9 to 16 credits, and part-time is anything under 9 credits. So when you're registering, make sure you always have a minimum of 9 credits. So in our department, we are recommending, a lot of people say, what's the average number of credits you're supposed to take each semester? Well, the requirements really will equal probably between 12 and 15 credits, depending on which program you're in. This semester is the one that's probably the highest number of requirements. And if you feel like that is too many, as I said, there is some flexibility, like considering taking toxicology next fall. I can work with you to try and bring that down. But on average, I think students in our department are taking probably about 15 credits each semester. Some people stick to 9 as they move through the program and say, I really just want to do 9, that's all I can do. Because most everybody is also working while they're in the program. But on average, to make sure you get out on time, we would say follow what's in the recommended sequence. And so usually, especially in this first year, it's going to be probably a little bit above 9, and then after that you can make your decision of what you're comfortable with. It will impact financial aid if you do drop below 9. So as I said, once you start registering, just make sure you always have that minimum in your schedule. All right, so you will go ahead and log into OPUS and see what you can see. Some of you, as I said, well, everybody should at least have biostatistics. Some of you might have additional classes already assigned to you. And then from there, go ahead and add the other classes based on the recommendation. And then just kind of keep looking at the schedule and the course catalog for other options and to make sure that things fit into your schedule. So if you do need my help, you can always email me once registration opens. If you email me for assistance and questions now, I will certainly answer them. And, I do keep things on file, so if I need to help you once it opens, that's fine as well. But once you start registering, that's probably when you're going to run into a question or an issue that you might need my help with. So just go ahead and send me an email, and if you would also please include your student ID number and the course and class number that you're specifically talking about, especially if it's not in our department. But for quicker access, it's great if I could just kind of copy and paste that information into OPUS and help get you registered, and I will always respond back and let you know the status of it. If not, please feel free to follow back up with me. I'm not offended by people who resend an email and say, I'm just following up about this. Sometimes I get busy and every once in a while I open something and don't have time to respond and it kind of gets overlooked. I apologize, but feel free to keep that line of communication open, and I will be sure to help you in a timely manner. And then also I just want to let you know that most of Emory is going to start transitioning over to using your Emory email. I think it's great if you can start checking your email daily starting now, and there will be a time probably at orientation, but I would like to do it a little sooner to stop using your personal email addresses and just strictly using the Emory email addresses. So if for some reason you have any problems or challenges with setting up your Emory email, you can contact the Emory IT Help Desk, and you probably have to call them directly. You can only, it's kind of ironic, you can only email them for assistance from an Emory email address. So if you're having issues and you need to call them, their phone number is the best way to reach them in that situation. And they'll work with admissions also to figure out what might be happening. But hopefully you will be up and running on your Emory email, and hopefully that's working for you. All right, so just wanted to remind you of a couple other things that are on the new student portal, the advising section, is that our department asks that everybody does conduct the city training, which is for the Institutional Review Board for Human Subjects Research, so that you, before you get here, you learn what the definition of human subjects research is and when you will be required to submit for IRB consideration for your projects. And this is just good practice before you start engaging in any of your practicum or working or collecting anything for classes, just so you're aware of kind of the ethics around human subjects research. And so it's an online course. It is self-guided. You take it yourself, and once you pass it, you've got a certificate, and you can either email me that certificate and or I'll be collecting them at orientation during our department session. So now's a good time to do it while you have a little bit more time before classes start. We also have some recommended reading regarding environmental health topics that our faculty thought would be interesting for you guys to kind of get excited about coming. In addition, that our orientation speaker is focusing on climate change, and so that was also a recommendation from our department. And we're really excited. We've got a lot of exciting things focused around environmental health this year. We're really excited that the school-wide book is around EH topics, and then also it just seems like we're finally getting some recognition and attention, and people are starting to learn more about what's going on in our neck of the woods too. So that's exciting for us as well. We do have a couple of the Facebook pages. We have the department page, which kind of has news and updates about what our faculty and other people are doing. And then I just started the EH admitted students for our department page, thanks to students wanting to connect with each other. And that will be an informal place that I can help answer questions and or really, again, for you guys to be able to connect directly with your cohort within our department. So let me know what other needs might be around that, but I'll be watching and helping out answering questions that way. All right, so thanks for your time. We're going to move into questions, and I'm going to let Emily monitor and pull these up, and hopefully you guys have something going on to ask us some questions about and or needs or recommendations or anything else that you might think of while we're all together.
Yeah, so it looks like there are none yet, but maybe you guys may be typing in a few. I think it could be an indicator of how thorough Ariane's presentation was to cover everything. But while we do have you as a captive audience, we did mention the admitted student portal, so we want to make sure that you guys are keeping an eye out on that. We've had the first orientation communication has gone out. The second one will be going out here within the next week. So be sure you look out for those as they're going to have kind of important next steps and keeping you on track with all the things that you need to be doing in order to kind of prep and get ready for the fall and kind of keeps you on track and make sure that you're going to be ready once you get here. Orientation registration itself will open up probably mid-July. But you can look at the schedule from last year to get an idea of what it's going to look like. It's pretty similar. We've made a few changes and a few programmatic changes, but overall I think you'll get a good sense of what to expect when you're here for orientation. Much of those events are still the same. But yeah, so it looks like you guys are good to go. I'm not seeing any questions pop up. You all have Ariadne's contact information, so if anything does come up, you can reach out directly. You can reach out to me or the admissions office or the admitted student Facebook page, and we're happy to help address anything. We have one that quickly just popped up. So Jessica is asking, are there any courses you would suggest for students interested in developing lab skills or microbiology? I'll let Ariadne handle that.
That's a challenge. We do have, well, you'll learn a little bit about foundations about that in your toxicology class. We do have microbiology specific classes in the spring, and we do have one lab-based water class that's also in the spring. Dr. Levy teaches that. So depending on exactly where your interest areas are, some of our students might contact some of our lab-based faculty. We do have labs, and they do hire people. A lot of students actually to do lab work. The Barry, Ryan, and Dana Barr lab, they tend to hire and train students as well. And as far as specific classes, it might be more once you get here and talk to faculty and look at curriculum. I don't think there's anything in the first fall that I would recommend, except for maybe contacting these faculty who have the labs and seeing what they say as well. But you can always contact me, and I can give you the referrals of who to contact for the faculty. And then also, most of the faculty are going to be doing their hiring closer toward after classes start. Most positions will be posted when we talk about jobs and things like that at orientation. And then most students are going to start applying for those kinds of jobs after you're here. Mm-hmm. So we'll give you more about that.
You'll get access to the job board about 3 weeks before classes starts, usually early August. So you can kind of start looking and applying, but don't feel like you have to come in here with the job in hand. Like most students don't start school with something in hand. It's once they get here and kind of start making those connections that they land something.
So you will get them. We will work with you and we'll connect you to people who are very lab-based here. And it's not necessarily, we'll connect you. I was going to say, it wasn't necessarily me as the best contact for it, so I'll connect you to some other people who are.
Yeah, a lot of times our role is almost traffic director, as in trying to just kind of figure out what your questions and concerns are and then getting you to the right person to best address them. So next question, Pamal is asking, what is the name of the book that you recommended for us to read? I'm having a hard time hearing you both, sorry. I think you were referring to the book that we talk about during new student orientation. So that book is Merchants of Doubt. And that was posted, that's also this information is posted on the admitted student portal as well in the summer reading section.
And then also specifically for the EH department, if you go under your program, we have more recommended reading in the portal. So check there. There's a couple books listed. Yeah. And if you can't find that, we will help you direct to where that is.
Let's see. I think we can show this online quickly. Academic advising. Is it in just any of the GH?
Yeah, any
okay. So on any of the EH pages, I think we've got sections on here for recommended reading, suggested summer reading. Yeah, so this will be on any of the EH pages. Looks like there's 2 of them listed on here right now, Tom's River and the Sixth Extinction. So you guys can find those. And probably pretty easy to find those on Amazon.
Yep.
All right. Well, that looks like that's it for questions. Again, you have all of our contact information. Let's pull up the PowerPoint one more time. So you guys should have all of our contact information. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out. And we are going to get this posted on our YouTube channel by mid next week. And Ariadne will email out the link of that for all of you guys. So that way you can be sure to check it out and go back to this as needed when you're registering for courses. So with that, we hope everyone has a great weekend. And thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.